Hello and welcome back to Pete's Model Car Customs. This is a continuation with the Ford Falcon. As you can see, I've got it sort of jigged up a bit. I want to look at how things are fitting together. It's a rather Spartan kit, so I want to work out what's going to need further work and you know, development really, because the interior of it is so Spartan, and there's a lacking of details all becoming more apparent as the build goes on. As you can see, I've got a roll cage in there. That is the stock roll cage fitted in there, and you can see there's quite a substantial gap in between the roll bar and the top of the body there, or the roof line. But I've noticed from looking at the real car, there's quite a bit missing, even from the artwork. If I spin that back a little bit, even from that box artwork, you can see the difference between what they're showing around that the door frame, the rear window and that, and down the pillar is noticeably missing from here. A bit hard to twizzle round because it really is all jigged up. So I know that's exaggerating the look, or that gap. But so I'm going to put in. I've been bending up a piece of channel. This is 1.5mm evergreen channel, and I'm going to put a line of that around through there and down the pillar, both sides obviously, to take it in what's missing in that. But I'm also going to raise this roll cage up by about 3mm, and I noticed that one of the cross members across the front of it, which I'll show in a minute, would just break your legs. There's no way you'd get into the pedals or anything to that. There's also, as you can see in the engine bay towards the front there, I've been carving in to actually let in a battery tray, as I've carved up the crush stang and nicked the battery from there, that space down there. So it seems funny, I've filled in a hole one side of the car and I'm opening up a car that you can see there, under my finger, on the other side, which is a bit of a laugh. So I've nicked the battery from there, which will nestle into that hole, and I've added a few details, starting to anyway, to the sort of build up a tray on that battery. So I've built up a tray around the bottom and a sort of locating tab underneath. So that will help me slide that into the hole into the car. I've yet to detail the terminals and the wires, trim all that lot off and replace it all. Swinging back to the car, in the background there you can see that the crush stang's rear axle, and I was tempted to replace the axle I was using and keep with the Ford parts, but when I came to look at that, I thought Revel's bound to be better, isn't it? But that was all totally hollow in the top, so I'm filling and building that up to reshape it. I may still use it, but it does mean I'd have to re-drill the rear wheels to accept these Revel stub axles, so I'm not yet sure whether I'm going to bother doing that. I've got the front end jigged in, but because I'm doing so much work to it still, I haven't actually glued the front half of the chassis back in. I showed on the previous video how I'm going to do it, but I haven't actually glued it in because it'd still be soft and then be liable to twisting around, and I want to work on the rest of the sort of rear platform of the car to work all this roll cage business out without worrying about distorting the lower chassis. I know where it's going to go, and I can fit it all you know, later on in the build. I just like to sort of, I noticed when I put this grill in to have a look how much difference even opening up such a fine grill like this makes to actually looking through it. And I think that's far better than having the sort of just black there and not going through. And I will replace the radiator, probably with some of the crush stang parts, but more than likely, considering what's what, it'll be a combination of that and building my own out of mesh like I've shown in previous videos. There's also very limited detail on that firewall. I blanked off a couple of places there and there, and I'm opened up this grill along the top in front of the windscreen, and I'm cutting a little hole there. I suppose if I raise this up a little bit, hands in the way, opened up the grill there, and where that bigger hole is where the windscreen wiper arm will have been, and that wasn't moulded onto this at all. You can see that there I've built up the tray a bit into the you know, for the battery, and there's a lack of ancillaries. There was no brake master cylinder, which I am nicking from the Mustang kit, and no heater fittings. But then I looked at the Mustang, and there aren't any in that as a replacement, which was rather a disappointment. I did think I'd be able to scavenge more parts off of that Mustang, but it's turned out they're not there. So some of these kits leave a bit to be desired. In the background there, just pan that over, is a carburetor with a velocity stack. And I'm possibly going to use that as opposed to what come in the kit. I still haven't had a chance to build the motor properly because it's reliant on the suspension working out. So, but if I just grab hold of this and move that one out of the way, if you can see the piece of foam in the background, it's got two holes punched out of it. What I've done is, this is basically what that carburetor started off looking like. It was a round velocity stack in the first place, but I'm using this one as a speaker in a different build. And I've for this one, I've drilled it out so as it looks like this. Looks like that. Come back here. Drilled the centre of that out quite a long way down, and with the punched out disc of foam, I can, going on the assumption it will slide back in. I can give myself a foam filter in there, which is a very fine packaging foam. It was supporting something, and when I get it tucked in properly, it looked pretty neat. That's a bit better. So like a filter in the velocity stack. There's no rear inner wheel arches, inner fenders. So again, from the Mustang, I've cut off the body part along the back there, and then taking a chunk from the front to widen it out. Clang. So as these will sit onto the chassis rail. Right, the chassis rail will go under there, up over there, you know, it will follow the line of the chassis rail and give me an inner fender, and I can bring that out to the body after fitting this to the chassis sort of thing. But there's quite a lot to go on the inside of that. If I can lift that off, where's the one that's that side? So I've got that like that, and we'll be sort of mounting them down and under into there sort of thing. But I need to reshape that, that's not going to help, is it? That might. And need to reshape the rear arm of that roll cage a bit to allow that to sit in properly, as it's butting up against there for a bit. I'll trim it around the rear post. So I'll probably put a little, change the angle of the fitting there, put a kink in it further back, so as this rear part of the rail runs straight along above the chassis rail. I want to put in a new cross member there for shock mounts anyway, and then carry on. I'm going to use, there's a stock dashboard part that's in this kit, so I'm going to use that as well, and use the stock dashboard across the front, as the post they give you across it, like I said, would just be across your knees. You can see the round fitting there, that's the level it's at to there, and I was playing with my little bloke I had out the other day, and there's just no way you could sit there. So if I raise that up to that sort of level and put the stock dashboard in, you'd actually have proper leg clearance. So then I'll put a dash panel in to underneath the windscreen and continue that along, so that it'll all be a proper sort of height. But that's it for today. I know it's odd having another video so soon, but I'm in a good flow here, so I want to keep it updated so as I can move along too. So best wishes from jolly old England. Bye.